if you can eliminate a department or an agency and the results, the outcome, the performance, there's no degradation in any of those areas, you don't need the agency.
Hello and welcome to the DOGE and Maha News channel. My name is Chris, and this video we're going to look at an ex-post from Vivek Ramaswamy and how he is kind of diving deep into some of the wasteful government spending. And also we're going to watch a video about DOGE and their plan to reform government. So let's get started. Okay, let's read this post from Vivek Ramaswamy. It says, federal departments employ inspector generals, or IGs, to coordinate audits and track areas for improvement. But agencies too frequently ignore these findings and try to sweep them under the rug. There are still a staggering 14,000 plus open, quote, recommendations, unquote, from IGs or inspector generals to agencies, some dating back nearly 25 years. DOGE will be dusting off many of these old IG reports. Wow. That is wild. So these inspector generals, they audit and they track areas for improvement, but agencies frequently ignore these findings and sweep them under the rug. Hello, these agency leaders need to be fired. What are they doing? This is simple stuff, but again, they are trying to protect themselves. They're trying to protect their little agencies or their kingdoms that they have and ignore these recommendations for improvement. It's ridiculous. I mean, these people need to be fired. They need to be held accountable. And again, there is really no accountability in government. But I think DOGE is going to come in and make them accountable and really correct these issues. It continues, there are a staggering 14,000 open recommendations from these inspector generals, some dating back nearly 25 years. Now, the 25-year-old ones probably still don't really apply anymore. They're probably too old. Start with those newest ones, but I love how Vivek Ramaswamy and the DOGE team are diving into these recommendations. It's a great place to start. Look for the low-hanging fruit and cut there first. I mean, the recommendations are already made. The research has already been done. Let's make those improvements. And at the same time, let's get rid of the leaders in these agencies that have rejected or pushed these recommendations under the rug. Let's get rid of that leadership and replace them with people that are actually interested in accountability, interested in making sure that our money is spent wisely.
Anyone who hasn't yet read that Wall Street Journal piece by Vivek Ramaswamy and Elon Musk, I highly recommend it. Very much a blueprint for how they're going to cut savings, cut regulations, cut personnel. It's going to be very essential, but also looking at the mechanics of this. While it's going to be on the outside of government, Vivek and Elon, they also are going to have people embedded, definitely lawyers. I don't think that they could have gotten this done during the first Trump administration because they didn't have some of that Supreme Court precedent, like West Virginia versus EPA, which is basically saying some of these federal regulations simply are not constitutional.
Yeah, so the Supreme Court has ruled that some of these regulations are not constitutional, and they're specifically talking about this EPA regulation. And I think Vivek and Musk are looking at all of these regulations that may not be considered constitutional, and how can we get rid of those and the departments that are supporting those regulations that are not constitutional. I think their point is that the Supreme Court has laid a little bit of a foundation for Vivek and Musk to take action and get rid of those regulations that are not constitutional.
Yeah, and Musk and Vivek laid it out, as you said, in that op-ed this morning in the Wall Street Journal. It's their vision for the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. The agency will pursue three major kinds of reform: regulatory recessions, administrative reductions, and cost savings. There'll be a focus on driving.
Okay, let's check this out. I'm going to have to get that copy of the Wall Street Journal and go ahead and share that in a future video. So they're going to reform the government through regulatory recessions. And I think yesterday we talked about Rand Paul discussing these recession bills where it's basically cutting the spending of a certain department, and that can be done through Congress, and some administrative reductions, okay, and cost savings. Those are kind of generic terms.
change through executive action based on existing legislation rather than by passing new laws. It will focus on cutting the federal workforce, identifying the minimum number of workers to perform agency functions, and require employees to come into the office 5 days a week. The agency will work to end federal overspending by taking aim at the $500 billion plus in federal expenditures that are unauthorized by Congress. They'll also conduct large-scale audits of unexamined federal contracts during a temporary suspension of payments.
That's a really good plan so far. So drive changes from existing legislation. So if legislation says, hey, we're not doing this anymore, then why are we still spending money on it? Get rid of that first. Cut federal employees. I like the fact that they're going to require employees to actually go into the office. A lot of people are going to quit over that. They're not going to want to go into the office. So that'll make an easy cut right there. Also, ending unauthorized federal spending. You know, there's a lot of spending that has not been officially authorized by the Congress. So these agencies, in order to justify their own existence, they're often spending outside of their mandate from Congress, just on different programs and things like that. So they're going to end all of that, and they're going to conduct audits of unexamined federal contracts. Wow, I bet they're going to find a ton of opportunity in those as well. I'm super excited to hear more about those contracts.
Vivek Ramaswamy told me a bit about it on Sunday. Watch.
We want to go right in through executive action to do the failures of the executive branch that need to be addressed. Because the dirty little secret right now, Maria, is the people we elect to run the government, they're not the ones who actually run the government. It's the unelected bureaucrats in the administrative state. That was created through executive action. It's going to be fixed through executive action. We're going to be cutting costs. Over $500 billion that's spent every year right now was not even authorized by Congress in the first place. Part of this is exposing for the public the extent of that rot and waste, but then to take steps first through executive action and then laying the groundwork for broader change through legislation as well to rein in that deficit, to rein in that budget. We expect mass reductions. We expect certain agencies to be deleted outright. We expect mass reductions in force in areas of the federal government that are bloated. We expect massive cuts among federal contractors and others who are overbilling the federal government.
I reacted to this video in a previous video. You can go ahead and check that out on my channel if you want to see the full video and my full reaction. But yeah, I love this. I love all of his expectations here. This is a really great plan, and I'm super excited for the implementation.
Yesterday, Musk posted on X that he shared famed economist Milton Freeman's opinion about how bloated government has become, writing, "Milton Freeman was the best," and shared this interview.
Department of Agriculture.
Abolish.
Gone.
Oh, man.
Department of Commerce.
Abolish.
Gone. Department of Defense.
Keep.
Keep it. Department of Education.
Abolish.
Gone. Energy.
Abolish.
From 14 departments down to four and a
Basic
half.
fundamental
4.5.
functions. What are its fundamental functions? Preserve the peace, defend the country.
All right.
Provide a mechanism whereby individuals can adjudicate their disputes. That's the Justice Department. Protect individuals from being coerced by other individuals. The police function.
Great that Musk tweeted out that interview. Mark Tepper, your reaction?
It's pretty interesting. Obviously, that was from 2008, so roughly, 16 years ago. But yeah, so he's just talking about keeping the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, and the police. And everything else can go. Everything else does not matter. He says abolish, abolish, abolish. And I think that's great. Yeah, because the federal government is way too bloated. And so hopefully Vivek and Musk can make a bunch of progress in this area, and that the Congress will get behind it and make those changes as well. Let's see what this guy says.
I mean, the great thing about Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy is that they are business owners, right? They understand dollars and cents. And when you look at, this whole potential of us eliminating government agencies outright, you got to ask yourself a question. Do these agencies add value? Is there a positive ROI, return on investment?
Do they add value? I think the answer on most of them is no. Like the Department of Education, our education results are worse than ever. They get worse and worse every single year. Our scores get worse and worse. Our kids are dumber and dumber coming out of our school system. So yeah, they are definitely not adding value. Get rid of it.
And if the answer is no, if you can eliminate a department or an agency and the results, the outcome, the performance, there's no degradation in any of those areas, you don't need the agency. It's
No degradation, you don't need the agency. It's that simple. Cut it.
wasteful spending. And I love, one of the things Vivek mentioned during the primary debate, the very first one, was zero baseline budgeting, which a lot of businesses use, whereby you don't just roll over expenses from the prior year. You start.
Yeah, that's a good point. Government agencies, that's what they do. They roll over their expenses from prior year. They look at, okay, we're going to spend the same amount plus 10% that we did last year. And so that's how they continue to grow and grow and grow and justify their existence. They're not looking at, okay, what do we actually need to run our business or run our agency? What they're doing is saying, okay, what did we spend last year? Let's add 10% to that, and that's our new budget. Yeah, it's a ridiculous way to approach it, and I like what he's saying here.
Start every year with no expenses, and then you start to add in what's relevant at that point in time. And the issue with our government is we have a track record of allocating money to certain programs, and no matter how unsuccessful those programs are, we keep putting money there,
And Congress is going to also be assisting here in its own role. Look, this is one way to really start attacking the $36 trillion in debt. Jonathan.
Yeah, this is great that we're doing this. And something similar was tried in 1982 called the Grace Commission. And they found out that 1/3 of every tax dollar was either wasted or abused or was just basically lost.
1982, 1/3 of every tax dollar was wasted, abused, or lost. That is crazy. And I don't think it's gotten any better. If anything, it's probably even gotten worse. Wasted, abused, or lost. That's what happens. They send money to people that are dead. There's so much fraud and people skimming off the top that's going on. So there's that abuse. And then there's just waste, right? Just wasted on these weird research projects. It's just amazing to me.
And what happened after that? Well, we still have the same problem, but I think it's different with Vivek and Elon Musk because they've done things that no one's ever done. I mean, Elon Musk started a car company from scratch and is the most successful, most valuable car company now. So I am optimistic, but it will be hard. But it's very well worth doing, and everyone agrees there's
about
waste and
time.
abuse.
Great
exactly.
idea.
So in 1982, government waste was found to be about 1/3 of every single tax dollar was either going to some kind of abuse or fraud, or it was wasted money, like it was sent to someone that was dead, for example, or it was just going to some weird research project that really amounts for nothing. So 1/3 of our tax dollars was being spent. I'm sure now it's even worse than that. It probably even a higher percentage. Who really knows? But hopefully DOGE will find out. I'm excited to see them dive into this. And really, if they can get rid of these government agency leaders that are ignoring the audit recommendations, like Vivek mentioned in the X post that we looked at earlier, if we can get rid of those agency leaders that are ignoring these recommendations to cut spending and improve processes and streamline processes, then we'll make a lot of progress. Those people need to be fired. They need to be held accountable. Getting rid of those leaders will make a lot of progress, and we should also consider getting rid of the agencies altogether, like that video with Milton Freeman. He said we only need the 3 agencies. All the rest of them should go. So we'll see what happens. Hopefully, the Congress will get on board. They'll get a spine, because in 1982 they did not have a spine to follow up on these recommendations regarding all of the wasted taxpayer money. But hopefully now Congress will get a spine. They'll back up DOGE and Vivek and Musk, and they'll make some progress and make a lot of cuts. It'll be great for all Americans, whether you are on the right or on the left, whether you're Democrat, whether you're Republican or MAGA, it doesn't really matter. If these cuts are done, it's going to improve all of our lives. It's going to put more money in our pocket and really help the economy. So I'm really excited. If you want to see more videos about this and then you're going to want to follow this channel. Make sure you like and subscribe, because I'm going to post videos about DOGE and MAHA, or Make America Healthy Again, every single day. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you on the next video.